Travelin Dug.
Greetings there, friends. Good to see you again. I wanted to invite you for a little trip to St. Augustine, Florida, to the Ripley's, believe it or not, Museum. Here's a little pre-show as we cross the Bridge of Lions. We'll turn the corner down here and slow down a bit so you can see one of the lions as we travel up Highway A1A. There he went, and here we go. Historic St. Augustine, the oldest city in America. You can see the historic buildings along the left, and here's the Massacre Harbor. We'll talk about more later. There's the Castillo de San Marcos, a Spanish fortress. Kind of the icon of the city. And as we continue north, over here on the left side, you'll be able to get a quick glimpse of the old city gates. There they are. St. Augustine's a beautiful city and home of the original Ripley's, believe it or not, Museum. Here's the outside. It looks a lot like a castle. You'll start to see fantabulous items that are hard to believe right out in the parking lot, like this horse made out of car bumpers. Sparkly. Here we see an anchor that was taken from the bay. Matanzas means massacre. Matanzas Bay was a huge massacre there. Historic St. Augustine. In fact, on a ghost hunt tour we went on later, we found out that they still hear things. Now we're inside the museum, which is themed for recycling and repurposing, and there's Captain Jack Sparrow made out of junk. Here's a crayon portrait of Mr. Frank Sinatra, the chairman of the board. Those are crayons standing on end. I've tried to leave these cards in here so you can read some things. An Etruscan helmet. Here's a Mogul warrior helmet. And a giant clamshell that was used for a bathtub. Of course, Ripley's always has a vampire killing kit or three laying around. Here's some pecan art. Specifically, it's the Last Supper. Made entirely pecans. And there's Elvis made out of candy. Another repurposed art item. Here comes a genuine meerschaum pipe. It's been carved out. World's smallest domino set is also on display. And of course, what would it be without a fur-bearing trout? Or a Fiji mermaid? There are certain things we come to expect. Here comes another repurposed image, this one of John Lennon. And here's a licorice Freddy Krueger. If you're like me and you don't like the black licorice, this is just as scary as an actual Freddy Krueger. It's not the Beatles, it's the Roaches. That's right, an entire rock band made out of roaches. Here's an African human skin mask. Scary. And of course, right next door, what Ripley's would be complete without a shrunken head? Here are some ancestor heads from New Guinea. Again, you can pause those cards and read in detail. I didn't want to bore you or extend the video, but wanted to make them available. Now here's a cannibal's fork and a skull made into a bowl. They repurpose everything. Look at that dagger. It's made out of human bone. Ooh. Here's a wall full of torture implements, just in case you were thinking about torturing someone. Or how about just smacking them with an enormous hammer like Thor? Here's a space buggy from the movie Armageddon, starring Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck. And here we have a space station made out of matchsticks. Here's a golf ball from the Apollo 14, along with a case full of other interesting space-related memorabilia. And of course, farm freaks like a four-legged cow. And Mike, the headless chicken. A two-headed sheep, or I guess that's a lamb, baby sheep. And here's a woman who didn't have a hen to set on her eggs, so she did it herself. There's a two-headed rabbit for you, and a four-legged duckling. Here's Robert Wadlow, the Alton giant, tallest man who ever lived. And I presume this is his wife, Mrs. Waddles. And the skeleton dude, their son. Here we have a case full of antlers and horns and that have been modified into different kinds of implements. And a case full of eggs, some carved, and this is the world's rarest egg in the middle, the big one. And here's a stool made from an elephant's foot. And nothing creepier than a bunch of dead people hair made into a wreath, but it was a fascination that the morbid Victorians had. And here's a skull drum and a rosary made out of human bones. Of course, this beautiful Tibetan human bone Rugen. Now here's some repurposed junk turned into a giant fish. And a cross and picture frames made out of gum wrappers. Believe it or not. Now these are two ginormous carved jade items. From China. Oh, that's bone, sorry. Here's a Sumatran soul boat. Kind of like Soul Train, but in Sumatra. And a mummified cat. No finer cat than a dead cat. Now, that's not the cat right there. That's the cat right there. You can see in that x-ray. And here is a clipping of John F. Kennedy's hair, in case anyone wants to try to clone him. And here's some various items, notably these candlesticks in the back of the case there, which are made out of prisoner of war bone. Ghoulish. Scandinavian drinking horn, though. And the Canton Mystery Ball. Here's a portrait of Gandhi made out of rice straw. And this is a poster of the Sands Motel made out of matchbooks. Dinosaur poo-poo. And woolly mammoth there, keeping up with our current hair theme. This critter here is a pteropus. A pteropus. Well, whatever it is, looks like a bat. This is a model of the International Space Station. It's even got the space shuttle. Now here's a repurposed junk C-3PO head for you Star Wars fans. I also have a junk AT-AT. You can see it's got some computer boards and things in there. And over here, some crayons that have been carved into your favorite Star Wars characters. How about a painted potato chip if you're feeling the munchies? Or a violin made entirely of matchsticks. There's some other odds and ends, like a beer can camera and a giant gallstone. Miniature Chinese lily slippers. Unusual. A whale's tooth. A human hair vest, perhaps. Arabian camel nose plugs. Believe it or not, and a genuine two-headed calf skull. And I saved the best for last. That's right. It's a tribal penis sheath. Hope you had a fun time with us at the Ripley's Believe It or Not here in St. Augustine. And please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Hope to see you again soon. Adios.